Two U.S. Navy aircraft carriers, the USS Vinson and the USS Harry S. Truman, are now deployed to the Red Sea. This is not a routine mission. It's a calculated show of strength, responding to escalating Houthi attacks and growing regional instability. Both carrier strike groups are operating around the clock, launching missions against Houthi military targets in western Yemen. These include drone facilities, missile launch sites, and command infrastructure. But what exactly is driving this surge in U.S. military presence, and what are the long-term stakes? Captain Chris Chower Hill, commanding officer of the Truman, summed it up in one phrase: round-the-clock dominance. The USS Vinson isn't alone. It's carrying some of the most advanced weapons in the U.S. arsenal. Among them, the F-35 Sea Lightning II stealth fighters. These jets are designed for precision strikes, surveillance, and operating undetected in contested airspace. The carrier also hosts helicopter squadrons and a logistics wing capable of supporting extended missions. Escorting the Vinson are warships like the USS Sterett and USS Princeton, equipped with advanced radar, missile systems, and anti-air defenses. These ships protect the carriers and maintain control over one of the world's most strategic maritime choke points. So why now? Over the last few months, Houthi forces have launched a series of missile and drone attacks targeting commercial vessels and U.S. Navy assets in the Red Sea. Houthi spokesman Yahya Saree claimed responsibility for several attacks, stating that Yemen's resistance would not submit or kneel. While such rhetoric is common in wartime propaganda, the threat is real and growing. The Houthis have improved the range and accuracy of their drones, many of which are believed to be supplied or modified with Iranian support. The US has responded by targeting key launch sites and supply routes. But this is more than just retaliation. It's about containing Iran's broader influence in the region. Iran backs the Houthis both financially and militarily. US officials have been pressuring Tehran to halt arms shipments, and there have been indirect talks facilitated through Oman. However, there is currently no verified evidence that Iran has withdrawn personnel or significantly reduced support in Yemen. At the same time, the US is clamping down on shipping in and out of Houthi-controlled areas, particularly the port of Hodeidah. This is Yemen's main seaport and a vital entry point for food, fuel, and humanitarian aid. Washington has warned that any country or company supporting the Houthis through these ports could be in violation of US sanctions. The message is clear: aiding a designated terrorist organization will not be tolerated. But there's a line that's hard to walk. Organizations like Amnesty International have raised alarms. Sanctions meant to weaken militants can also block vital supplies to civilians. Over 2/3 of Yemen's population live in areas controlled by the Houthis. In a country already devastated by over a decade of civil war, how do you stop a military threat without deepening a humanitarian crisis? The US redesignated the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization in early 2025. While this move aims to cut off their financial networks, it has complicated the delivery of humanitarian aid. Even with exemptions in place, is it possible to defeat an insurgent group without punishing the people they control? Meanwhile, US military activity in the region is ramping up. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the USS Vinson to leave the South China Sea and join forces in the Middle East. That redeployment underscores a shift in strategic priorities. The Red Sea is now a top concern. The Truman has already intercepted multiple drones and missile threats from the Houthis. In response, US aircraft have launched targeted strikes on radar systems, weapons storage facilities, and command centers in Yemen. With the Vinson in theater, The Navy can now conduct more overlapping and sustained operations. Is this a calculated deterrence campaign, or the beginning of a broader escalation? Under current U.S. policy, Central Command has expanded authority to strike Houthi targets without needing specific approval from the White House. That means faster responses, but it also increases the risk of unintended consequences. Could a single miscalculation drag the U.S. into a deeper conflict? The extension of Carl Vinson's deployment by at least 3 months highlights the seriousness of the situation. And it raises another question. How long can this level of military readiness be maintained? This conflict doesn't exist in a vacuum. Iran's influence in the region is felt through multiple proxy groups: Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and the Houthis in Yemen. Each poses a unique challenge, but together they form a strategic web designed to pressure U.S. allies and interests throughout the Middle East. This is not the first time the U.S. has deployed dual carriers in high-risk zones. In 2023, the USS Abraham Lincoln joined the USS Theodore Roosevelt during a flare-up between Israel and Iran-aligned forces. But what's different now is the speed and scale of the threats. Houthi drones have improved. Their reach now threatens commercial shipping lanes critical to global trade. The Red Sea connects to the Suez Canal, a choke point responsible for nearly 15% of global maritime commerce. Any disruption here has ripple effects across oil prices, logistics, and global stability. Are we entering a new era of naval warfare, one driven by drones, asymmetric threats, and economic disruption? The U.S. Navy has carried out numerous precision airstrikes in recent weeks, though specific numbers on munitions used haven't been released. The goal is clear: degrade the Houthis' ability to project force, but the long-term effectiveness of that strategy remains uncertain. Can firepower alone stop a guerrilla movement with regional support and deep ideological roots? Experience in Iraq and Afghanistan suggests otherwise. Military victories on the ground don't always translate to political stability. Where does this end? If airstrikes fail to break the Houthis' resolve, will the U.S. escalate further? Will more assets be deployed? Will this turn into a sustained regional conflict? And in the process, can the U.S. avoid being blamed for worsening conditions for Yemen's civilian population? America now finds itself in a familiar position, balancing military deterrence with humanitarian impact, projecting power while trying to uphold moral responsibility, fighting insurgents while avoiding a wider war. There are no easy answers, but one thing is clear: this isn't just about defending ships or hitting missile sites. It's a test of U.S. credibility, capability, and commitment in one of the world's most complex and volatile regions. What happens next will shape not just the outcome in Yemen, but how the world views American power in the years to come.